This is Creso, and this is part 62 of the Human Journal, Anunnakis and Ancient Hidden Technology. I just finished watching this interesting clip from Michael Telliger, and I'm very inspired after watching this video, and yeah, I really enjoy Michael's what he envisioned for humanity and the information he's sharing. And also at the same time, I've been hearing a lot about these race Anunnakis and the mystery about the human race. The information that I've been running across about the Anunnakis and what they are, it got my attention. I didn't really want to hear so much about it because there was so much fear based about these alien race that a lot of people have been talking about. Kind of like along the line with the reptilian race. A lot of people like talking about, seems to be like humanity, not everybody, but it seems like a lot of people focus so much on ET race with very hostile intentions, a lot more than the opposite. But as far as the Anunnakis, it got my attention after when I stopped to listen to some of their stories, what they are. I don't recall this particular humanoid race. It's very, for what I know what the human race is, it's very different from the story that I've been hearing about the connection between the Anunnakis and the human race. And I had to really meditate to get more information about them. Not so much on YouTube clips. I mean, I watched clips about this, but I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to go deeper in the spirit world and get whatever information, you know, about this race. For what I know, and talking to other ET beings from within the spirits, other dimensions, but for what I know personally, is that the human race is a collective of other humanoids. The human race is part of a gigantic, I could call it a tree of humanoids, different humanoid species. For what I know now, the human race has been, it's kind of like, it's been formed or shaped from within consciousness through the spirit world. It's when the spirit intimate with the physical, and from different time space, the human race was formed to be for what it is today. As far as the Anunnakis creating the human race as a helper, I don't recall this, and I had to really meditate this again and not allow my own mind try to get the best of me, my own ego. But part of the stories I've been hearing about the Anunnakis I felt bothered by it, is that these beings play themselves as gods over humans. And the human race is part of a family, but as far as being a lower subdivision of the humanoid race, different humanoid races, that's not for what I know. I was meditating, talking to my mother from a different time space. a dimension that I came before this dimension on Earth. I was meditating, talking to her, and try to get information, but I wanted to get the information more on my own to see how far I could go. And then I'm going to utilize my ayahuasca experience to get information. Ayahuasca is just a tool. It's a tool that our higher self put there for a reason. I got information about the moon and the solar system, that it is a holographic, or I could call it a grid. It's built on grids, and that's just one perspective. And I know that whatever I'm passionate about, whatever questions I have, I know the answer is there. So I will utilize this tool of ayahuasca to align myself with more information. And that's what I'm planning to do. And as far as the Anunnakis, I will say this, and I always tell everybody, that there is no humanoid being that's above or below you. Life is based on spirituality, whether a lot of people will accept that truth or not. I am open that humans could definitely, there are humanoid race that can replicate or create drones, or create drones of other humanoids. I'm open to that. I mean, humans on Earth, they've done it, and I've heard stories that, not drones, excuse me, clones. There's been human cloning in Russia. Stories I've heard about that's been done for years in Russia, but it's not so widely talked about worldwide. As far as creating humans as a slave, or a slave species, it really disturbs me, and I always questioned through the years growing up that why it seems to be in different cultures around the world, slavery seems to be a very heavy influence or impact on different cultures around this world, this idea of slavery. And when I learn about the Anunnakis more, and then I hear people talking about fear about the Anunnakis, of their return, I wasn't afraid. I don't know anything of them, but I would assure you this, that no other ET being is going to come into this world and try to claim or try to enslave anybody. I will know because it's not just me, it's not just other ET beings that's here on Earth, and a lot of the beings that's here on Earth, they're not in the popular list on the internet, meaning they're not Palladians, they're not Greys for what people know. But there are lots of other ET beings in this world. And I know particular my race is not on the quote-unquote popular list. I don't care to be that. I am in my own mission, or in my own, I'm playing my role to inspire the human part of consciousness to rediscover the true power from within. As far as other beings that try to come and try to play God, I will say this, and I will speak out from my heart, that's not going to happen. Humans are not alone, even though humans, a lot of people claim to be or feel alone, but they're not. There never was. This life experience is based on the human part of consciousness going through an experience to rediscover itself. the only one that's going to basically save you is yourselves. There are other ET beings along the way, like myself, will assist you. But far as saving you, humans going to have to do the work. They're going to have to see the true potential from within, and people are starting to see that more and more. And that is why in this journal I'm very inspired to hear this guy, Michael. He's one of the people in this world that pretty much got it. Not saying that he's better, not saying that he's any smarter. He's consciousness just like any other being. He decided to be open. And I really appreciate, I'm very inspired by his presentation, and I subscribe to his channel. What he envisioned about humanity, I envision the same. I'm very open. He talks about Anunnaki, he talks about sound waves. And when he mentioned about sound waves, about how ancient technology, how things been moved by sound waves, it was, in a way, it was synchronicity, because last year I did a part 13 of my human journal that I had a dream, a very deep, lucid dreaming about that I saw myself in a different universe or alternate reality, that I was impacted by sound waves, how my body, I reincarnated into the human body because I was considered, my body was, how you call it, my body was disformed or physically challenged and mentally challenged. And I ran into some ET beings, and they put my body attached to this machine, and this machine gave off some sound waves, and it changed my body. These beings knew who I was, and they knew that I reincarnated into this human body. And the purpose of me on that alternate reality is to inspire people to open up to different technology in regarding to sound waves, and how sound waves could change the makeup of the body, and also mentally. And I put the link to that, to that part 13 of my human journal on the description below, along with Michael, the video that I checked out on Michael Intelligent. Excuse me, I'm having a little hard time saying his last name, but Michael's his presentation on, I put the link on in my description below. Great video. He touched on about sound waves, so I find it very interesting. And it is true. Sound waves can move things. I'm aware of those things. I know that. But to hear somebody talk about that and open to that, I'm very inspired. He touched on a lot of different things. He touched on things. He lives in South Africa, and he touched on things about the government in South Africa. The same thing he talks about, similar, or actually the same, to what I was sharing my other videos outside the Human Journal series, about how the government is a corporation and how the corruption runs so deep between the banksters and lawyers and other stuff. He was touching things on that, the things that what he's going through. And I find it very interesting. But then I realized South Africa, if I'm saying this correctly, it is part of the English colony. It has ties to the crown. It has the government backings. Everything is tied into to United Kingdom. So I'm not surprised to hear the stuff that he's talking about. The public schools there in South Africa, there to dumb people down. He expressed about inspiring people not to put your children in school, and I feel the same way. Our offspring is not reaching their full potential when you're in public school. It is designed to be work slaves, and that's the truth. I'm excited. It really, anybody that listens to this audio, I really encourage you to listen to this audio. It's long. It's like 2 hours, but believe me, you will be inspired. You know, it's like we could all talk about how a lot of people are asleep and all that, but you know, when I see someone like Michael, for example, you know, there's hope. I cannot give up on my higher self. Our higher self is not limited into the physical world. Even though things seem so daunting and impossible, and we look at certain things like the banksters rule the world, the Rothschild and all that, but I understand why people say that. The only reason why the banksters rule the world, quote unquote, is because it goes like this. It's because people allow it. Other than that, if you really look at it through and through, the banksters and government and these people, they don't really own, or they don't really have any power. Not really. It's just that people allowing them to have power. These people think they have power. It's very simple. I'm very open to a society without money. I'm going to post I did a Money Talk 3 a year ago, that I'm open to society without money. And I try to look at money as a tool, not anything negative, but I'm open to a society without money, and I put that link to that description of my audio below, Money Talk 3. And yeah, I understand what Michael's talking about what money does and how it does enslave you. I understand where he's coming from. I truly understand that. It does take work. I see it does take work for people to recondition their own belief systems about money. Yes, our society around the world can work well together, contributing their talents together to improve life on Earth. Yes, it is possible. This is what I envision within humanity, and that's the reason why I chose to come into this world, because I've seen the event of consciousness awaken. And the event of consciousness awaken is that, you know, I will say this, that it's not going to be any, it's like when you evolve, everybody, it's like you're not going to be the human race anymore. You're going to shift out of the human race. The human race will always exist. You're just going to go into a higher consciousness. You're not going to think like a human anymore. You're going to be in a much more higher consciousness way of thinking, feeling, doing everything. There's things that even on a physical world that could be done that in this dimension will look at it that's impossible. But no, it's not impossible. But yeah, I've seen people throughout this world woke up, the spirit. And I know it takes work, and people must do the work. This is part of the transition. I really appreciate what he envisioned. But I will go further into looking into about the Anunnakis, of what they really are. I don't feel anything lesser of myself if I'm not aware of everything. You know, in this physical form, I'm not aware of everything. And even when I was in even as Crystal in a different dimension, I wasn't always aware of the human part of consciousness until I discovered the human part of consciousness through out-of-body experience. I was one of the beings that really felt an energy that the human race gave off. A lot of people will talk about how nuclear bombs that send off shockwave through different dimensions that basically created either a portal or attracted more ET beings coming from different dimensions. But no, the human race does give off a frequency sound that you're not going to hear with your own ear. But other dimensional beings will pick up, and that's the reason why. That's how I was one of the beings to discover the human race of consciousness. And the frequency that I picked up, it was a lot of misery, a lot of anger within the human race, and I picked it up. And since then I was very interested. But then I've seen the potential. I've seen the spirit within people. No matter how thick the limited belief system that people hold up, you cannot limit your higher self. You can't. Our higher self is going through a sleep mode, but it's just part of an experience. It's just something that what consciousness does. It just is. There's no other big logical explanation to explain. It's really not. It's just that the human race is only meant to go through certain tasks to rediscover the true self. And that's what the human race is. And when the human race evolves, you're going to look at yourself and you're not going to even recognize your human self anymore. Yes, your form will change. It's because your spirit is going to transform even your physical form. I have no proof to provide. People will have to believe it for themselves. I'm not going to worry whether people are going to believe me. But I got to say is that when I see videos like this, for what Michael's expressed, I'm really inspired. You know, this is all part of the transition. And I'm really inspired. You know, if there is an idea of a humanoid race to place itself as a god over humans, I would say this, that our higher self allow these things because these beings are not the actual true self, meaning they're not consciousness. You see, the ego, and I realized, and I also looked in about this, you see, the human ego would try to place itself as the higher self. It's the low part of consciousness. It would try to place itself as the higher self. But it's not. So if any humanoid race that comes and try to place itself to try to be the ruler, or any human being will try to place itself the ruler, they're vibrating a low part of consciousness. Because the true essence of consciousness, that it doesn't rule over itself because it's oneness. It can't kill, and it doesn't have authority over itself. That's just what consciousness is. Consciousness doesn't really care about these egotistic titles and rulership. So if any ET being that try to claim rulership, that's just another level of the ego. And I realize that the human ego is not, it goes deeper. It goes deeper beyond the human ego. There's different levels of the ego. So yeah, I understand and I'm open that there are other humanoid race that operate on a very low part of consciousness, that they'll try to conquer and dominate and try to rule over other humanoid races. Yes, I understand that. But as far as these beings that people are afraid that they're going to come over and conquer, no. I will say this, and I'm very confident to express what I saw in spirit. The human part of consciousness awoken, and nothing can stop it. Not even the Anunnakis. If their intention is to come and try to reclaim their ownership on the human race, I would say that they're sadly mistaken. But I will go further into this, and I will go into what these beings are. I know they are part of consciousness, like me. I will go into finding more information about this race, and also to go deeper and deeper with the human race. But I will say this, the human race are a collective of many humanoid races. There is a family tree. This is the best way I could use these words in translation. There are countless of humanoid species that you're not going to find on the internet, everybody. You are part of a family, a countless of humanoid species. There are giants, humanoids, and there are humanoids that's like 2 feet or 3 feet, for example. Some of you understand or seen stories about humanoid race that small. There are alternate realities of the human race itself. I so happen to be in this reality, how the human race evolved. I'm very pleased. I'm really pleased to see this video. I'm really inspired. I think that's all I have to say in this journal. Okay, I will be back for part 63. Take care.